My brother sold our grandmother's house behind my back, so I made sure he'd never see a penny of the inheritance. Grandma Rose raised me from age 8 after my parents died. Her Victorian house on Maple Street was more than walls and windows. It was Saturday morning pancakes, homework help at the kitchen table, and bedtime stories about her immigrant father who built it with his own hands in 1943. When she developed dementia at 89, I moved in to care for her. For 3 years, I managed her medications, drove her to appointments, and held her hand through the confused nights when she forgot where she was. My brother Garrett lived 2 states away, visiting maybe twice a year with his wife and kids for obligatory holiday meals. The day after Grandma's funeral, Garrett cornered me in her kitchen. "We need to talk about the house," he said, avoiding eye contact. "What about it?" I asked, still numb from grief. "I already have a buyer. Cash offer. We can split it 50-50 after expenses." My stomach dropped. "You can't sell it. This is our family home." He pulled out his phone, showing me a real estate listing. Photos of Grandma's bedroom, her garden, her sitting room, all online for strangers to evaluate. "I listed it last week. We close Friday." "Without asking me?" "Look," he said, his voice taking on that condescending tone I remembered from childhood. "You're emotional right now, but this house is just an asset. We both inherit equally, so I made an executive decision." I stared at him. "Grandma wanted me to keep the house. She told me 100 times. Where's that in writing?" He smirked. "Because legal documents say we inherit everything 50-50. That night, I couldn't sleep in Grandma's house knowing it had been sold. I sat in her rocking chair, remembering how she'd rock me after nightmares, whispering that home wasn't just a place. It was love made visible. By morning, I had a plan. I called Grandma's estate attorney, Rita Chen. During our conversation, I mentioned something that had bothered me for months. "Rita, when Grandma signed her will 2 years ago, was she mentally competent?" "Absolutely. We had her evaluated." "Why?" "Because she'd been talking about updating it. She wanted to leave me the house specifically." Rita was quiet. "Did she ever draft a new will?" I smiled. "As a matter of fact, yes. I'd found it the previous night, tucked inside Grandma's recipe box. Handwritten, dated 6 months ago, witnessed by her neighbor Mrs. Patterson and her home health aide. In shaky but clear handwriting, Grandma had left me the house and its contents. Garrett got her savings account, about $12,000. The new will was perfectly legal. Friday morning, as Garrett sat at the closing table with his buyer, I walked in with Rita and the revised will. His face went white as Rita explained that the house sale was invalid. The buyer was understanding. They'd dealt with family disputes before. Garrett looked at me with pure hatred. "You planned this?" "No," I said calmly. "Grandma planned this. She knew exactly who had earned this house." Later, Mrs. Patterson confirmed she'd helped Grandma write the will after Garrett's last visit, when he'd spent the entire time appraising furniture and asking about property values. "Your grandmother was sharper than people gave her credit for," Mrs. Patterson said. "She saw right through him." 5 years later, I still live in Grandma's house. I've restored the garden she loved and converted the sunroom into a reading nook. Garrett sends angry texts occasionally, usually around holidays, demanding I sell and split the proceeds. I never respond. But sometimes I sit in Grandma's rocking chair and tell her about my day. The house listens, just like she always did. Some inheritances aren't about money. They're about recognizing who is actually family.